Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I asked you all in a previous video whether you'd be interested in seeing a full studio tour, and based on your comments it sounded like you definitely were, so that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to go through all of this and the different drawers and shelves and the things, and I'll talk about them, and yes, it's going to be great. Let's get started. Okay, so here we are standing just inside my studio with our backs to the door. We are going to move from left to right around the room, starting with this bookshelf here. Down at the bottom I keep receipts and tracking and insurance slips from the post office, also some random keepsakes and cards. On the next shelf I have my recent portfolios, which if you guys would be interested in this, I could do a portfolio review and look through some of them. Let me know in the comments if that sounds interesting. Also on this shelf are a few boxes that I'm saving and some unused birch panels. Moving up from there, I have some packaging supplies, more boxes, and paper tape. On the next shelf, I have a couple of bins of craft supplies. Then the top two shelves are mainly books and a few knickknacks and personal things. Okay, moving on from the bookshelf over to my first set of white drawers. These are from IKEA and I believe they're called Alex drawers. This is basically my prints and packaging corner where I have my printer, paper for large prints, rigid mailers, paper for small prints, as well as just some basic printer paper. Then in the next drawer are more rigid mailers and the Etsy card reader I never use. And lastly, some chipboard, which I use for packaging to make sure prints and originals arrive intact. Now moving just a little bit further to the right, where I have this small black table, which is used to store my camera and lenses. And then up top I have business cards and thank you cards that I've stored in these cool old wooden boxes. I also save my blotting papers and store them here to use for handwritten notes and cards later. Next up is my desk, which is a drafting table that Eric gave me a couple of years ago. It tips up so that I can work at different angles, and it has 6 little drawers on the sides which I use to store random electronics and small camera accessories, hanging and framing hardware, and then just some more cables and other random electronic stuff. The other side has pens and paint pens up top, pencils and erasers and a compass and sketching stuff in the middle, and then Sharpies on the bottom. Moving on over to my second set of Alex drawers, this is where I store most of my art making supplies. Next to it, I keep my drawing board and glass palette. I started using one of these in school since they're great for oil paint, and I still really like them for when I use gouache or acrylic or even some mixed media applications because they're really easy to clean up. On the other side, I have a jar with my Gamsol rags and paper blending stumps, and I keep them in here since they are technically flammable, so this is just the safest way to keep them. On top I have a bunch of different things, including this old candle holder which I sharpen my pencils over, as well as a few random things that I use for packaging like this string and washi tape, scissors, etc. Then in the top drawer I have a bunch of different media. First off I have my Prismacolor softcore pencils, which I use a lot. Then there's a big bin of markers that has some Copics, some Prismacolors, and some Fineliners. And then I have all of my brushes and palette knives, and then some Prismacolor water-soluble colored pencils and the Prismacolor Verithins. And then lastly I have my Holbein Acryla Gouache. The next drawer has Conti crayons and a bunch of little pencil stubs that I can't bear to throw away. It also has these metallic acrylics that you may have seen in my Art Snacks video and my Koi by Sakura watercolor palette set. And next there are these Caran Neocolors, which are a water-soluble wax pastel, and my backup pencils. This is a mix of softcore, water-soluble, and Verithins. I just like to keep extras of all of the colors I use a lot so that I don't end up working late on a client project and then realizing that I've run out of light umber. Lastly, I have this package of metal leaf. This is just an imitation gold leaf that I got to mess around with. And then there's several different sets of soft pastels. The third drawer is where the iPads live. I have this iPad 2, which I've had for several years and use mainly for reference images. Then I also have the iPad Pro and Apple Pencil, which I'm still learning how to use, but I'm hoping to use for thumbnails and client work, as well as for sketches and concept work for larger paintings and for making digital illustrations. Also a small Wacom tablet in the back, an external hard drive, and some screen cleaning supplies. The next drawer has a lot of different random things, ink for my printer, clips, my pencil sharpener graveyard. These are all the sharpeners that didn't end up working out well or that died or for whatever reason I just didn't like. I forgot to show my favorite one, but I'll just pop it in here. It's the Alvin Brass Bullet and I love it. Then I have some Linocut Supplies and this stamp guide that I use again for packaging, and obviously some ink as well down there. I have this container full of sharp things, this window scraper for palette cleaning, an X-Acto knife, and there's a lino cutter in there as well, and then I have some backup blades. Also in this drawer is a brayer and some pliers and some artist tape. The next drawer has paper for painting. I've got several different kinds. This first one is a cold press variety that's in a sort of modified block. So with a block, usually all 4 edges are taped, but this one just has 2 edges taped, so it keeps it from warping when it's wet, and it's kind of easier to get out than it is with a regular block. There are also a couple smaller pads of hot press paper, which is smoother, and then this large Strathmore pad, which is also a cold press variety. The last drawer has paper towels, rulers, and French curves, and then some still in use blotting paper. Okay, we are in the home stretch. Almost done. Moving just a bit above these drawers, I have this little wall shelf, which is where I keep solvents, masking fluid, and glues, as well as the random bottles of craft paint that I've picked up for different projects over the years. Next to that is my easel, which is relatively new. It's made by a company called American Easel, and I really like it so far. And the last turn to the right, moving on, we have the bed in the corner for when Eric's parents come to visit, and then at the foot of the bed I have my paper cutter and scanner. So that is it. That's my studio. I hope you guys like the tour. Let me know in the comments if you are interested in seeing a video where I go back through a portfolio. I've been thinking about doing something like that, either just kind of like a portfolio review of more recent work, or I could go back and do some older work and kind of compare then and now. I'm a little bit intimidated to do that because I have gone through a lot of phases in my creative life and I've been interested in really different things at different points. So you might be surprised to see what my work from 10 years ago looks like compared to what I'm making today. Yeah, but let me know if that's something you're interested in, and I could definitely do it. It would probably be a bit of a bigger video since I would have to be pulling work from different places and have to go back home and get some stuff. So, but I definitely would be up for doing it at some point. And as usual, if you have questions or anything or thoughts, or, you know, leave them in the place where you leave those things. Yes, and if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and that is really it. Okay, all right, bye guys. See you next time.